Actually, I wanted to share some things that I have learned throughout this semester. It's not that flashy, rather, it's the actual thing that I have learned throughout my semester. So it started from actually maybe well from December, the end of the December. This was my third semester, and this lasted for up to May. So 8th of May almost, or 11th of May. So it's around 5 to 6 months. So I have learned actually quite a lot of things throughout this semester that I can actually talk about. These are something actually important. The first thing is the method of study or learning. So I have changed a bit. Actually, I'm experimenting with active recall in computer science. So I think it will be pretty important maybe in the future as well, because nowadays I am having less amount of time. So maybe it will basically be more helpful for me, I think, at least. Okay. My input is okay. Sound okay, it doesn't matter actually. So for active recall, the thing that I am doing, for example, let's say I am learning about embedded system or operating system, or maybe complexity theory. Now when I am following a book, for example this book here, Introduction to Theory of Computation by who was the author? Michael Sipser. So when I'm trying to read a chapter of this book, then I'm basically trying to note down the questions that I am having. For example, if I show you here that the topic is automata, computability and complexity. So I'm instead of taking a lots of notes, I mean summarizing the chapter, I'm trying to write a bit of questions in my Google form. I can also show you that maybe. So if I go to my docs, theory of complexity or theory of computation, yeah. So theory of computation. So here, as you can see, when I was studying about finite state machine, I just written some random questions like what is symbol, alphabet, string, language, and what are the powers of sigma, what is cardinality, and what is sigma star. Maybe I was learning from Nesso Academy, and I was just writing 2 or 3 questions or less for a particular video or a lecture, and also from the book. So this is much what I would like to say is this is a lot of less messy and also very beneficial, because whenever you are trying to just go through these questions, you don't know something but you have learned a little bit, then you just Google it or maybe review the lectures. Reviewing the lectures is not so useful because you have already done it. So if you don't have that much time, just Google it and try to solve some questions related to that from some sites, or if available. If not, then maybe it's not that important, or if it's important, then definitely you can do what, actually you can go through the exercises of this book, right? For example, I'm particularly talking about this particular topic or book, then you can go through these exercises. So whenever you are going through this problem, so you will be challenging yourself with the concept if you really understood it. So this way active recall is very much being helpful to me, because I think I am having less and less amount of time in the coming days. So I'm trying to experiment with this active recall method in computer science, because we have to learn a lot of things, right? so there are a lot of things in few months to cover. For example, in this semester I have to do like theory of computation, numerical analysis, and also web technologies and stuff like that. Actually, I also have digital logic design, that is a course from electronics, but this is important to understand how our CPU works. So once I actually finished a project, it's not that actually flashy. I think it was a 4-bit adder and a 2-bit adder maybe, yeah, and 4-bit full adder and that half adder. So I tried to implement that using the digital logic design principles. So it helped me to understand the internal mechanism of operating basically our CPU. So we also have to learn about microprocessors, and particularly for that we definitely have to learn digital logic design and stuff like that. So definitely it's worth it. So we have to learn a lot of things, and there is a formal way of studying, like we have books and stuff like that. So we need a lot of time, right? And also at the same time, for our mental stability or mental endurance, and for creating resilience and mental toughness, we have to practice competitive programming. That is the most fun part one of the most fun part of computer science, especially who love programming and so on. Actually, my point of view of competitive programming has been, at least up to this point, is that I'm someone who actually wants to specialize in system programming, and lower level things. Also, maybe some application of computer science and programming in medicine or medical technologies. So I want to build systems around those kind of things. So I want to learn about systems, and for that definitely I will have to practice efficient coding, right? So, and to write smart and efficient code like Jiang Li does, for example, if I show you a book that is called Coding with Jiang Li. Actually, I have already opened, because I'm practicing from here. If you can see, these are the same content. So it has been divided into it has been divided into gray, green, blue, violet, orange, rose, red, black. These are some of the rating range of code process. So what I'm trying to do is basically trying to select a person, and around that I'm trying to get a topic. For example, brute force, constructive algorithms, greedy, implementation, math, and miscellaneous or sorting. Here sorting, as you can see. So in this gray section, I'm basically picking up a problem, trying for a bunch of amount of time until I run out of ideas. So I try up to that point, and then try to implement on my own. If I get accepted, then I check this code from Jiang Li submission. Okay, he writes super efficient and super smart code, and very clean and readable. So I try to learn from his code. Also some advanced way of implementation, actually not advanced, rather efficient version you can say. So I try to learn from his submission. So that's the thing that helps me. So if I am able to write efficient code after this practice, and if I can practice resilience through competitive programming, it will help me ultimately in the future when I'm maybe researching about the low level systems or systems that help implementation of medical technologies or medicine, anything like that. If you know that we also have the application of theoretical computer science. For example, in protein analysis, we have rigorous algorithmic computational things. So that's actually important. I also even had a book, maybe actually I have deleted that book maybe. Okay, so that book was basically about learning algorithms through around bioinformatics algorithms especially. So for every topic, for example, dynamic programming, what are the applications here in medicine? So our topic is actually what I actually learned throughout this semester. So I learned a little bit about academic efficiency. So I'm still experimenting how things actually go on. So also, yeah, for particularly programming uh, uh, courses, for example, object-oriented programming. So you have rigorous test like our teachers gave. So he basically tested with uh, things like there was the most important thing was the time limit. So you have to solve particular problems. So you have to observe and solve using your knowledge that he has taught already, and within very short amount of time. So very few students uh, got A plus. So that is actually important to practice a lot and try to internalize the contents actually. So if we actually can do that we are internalizing the contents, and also at the same time we are practicing a lot. So we are going faster, we are thinking deeper, we are observing very well. So that's when actually things get so much clear that it goes into the head. So this is a crucial thing that maybe will be helping me in the future semester. So I learned this particular thing. So I think I will be working on these actually maybe a little bit more. Also around this, yeah, academic excellency or academic efficiency, and then I have learned about life a lot, maybe, yeah, a little bit. I'm still actually trying to understand the psychology behind every man's head actually. So what he thinks. So I'm trying to internalize the ultimate actually thinking that we have. Particularly, I'm also trying to understand a little bit about geopolitics. Yeah, also we had some courses around economics and business. So I try to learn a little bit about economics and also about business, even though I didn't like very much because I didn't have that much time. So I didn't actually invest a lot of time up there, but before the exam days actually I have learned a bunch of things. So that was actually I think important to understand actually a little bit about economics. So how they actually shape the world or condition world, or how can we actually explain the world in terms of economics and business and stuff like that, and how a particular business works and what are the markets, yeah, and stuff like that. So these are something that I think mentionable that I have learned throughout this semester. Okay, so these were basically my major learnings, and I'm basically trying to learn from my mistakes. I did a bunch of mistakes, definitely, that I'm not going to disclose here very much in amount, but what I can say is that for my future semesters I'm trying to focus on deep level of knowledge a little bit more, and also at the same time not only going deeper, because for that I have time after graduation if I go into academia or stuff like that, but now is the time to actually build the breadth and getting deeper into one or two fields, because you can't actually definitely master more than two fields at the same time. Rather, you can actually be a master in maybe one or two fields. For example, for my case actually it works something like programming and academics and stuff like that. So actually right now, but I have the plan to implement whatever I have learned or I'm learning from computer science into some particular field that I have already spoken over. So these are the things that I may try. So for that, actually I have to increase my breadth, so in everything almost, whatever I am learning. So whenever I'm going deeper into a particular subject, at the same time I have to go some other breadth of some other subjects, maybe in shortest amount of time possible. And for that, definitely I will have to sacrifice a lot of things, because I will have less amount of time. Okay, now if I talk about efficiency, productivity and mindset, then definitely there are a lot of things that I have learned throughout this semester. First of all, if I would like to say, is that I have recently, for around 2 months, I'm not using a smartphone. So that's a cutting edge advantage. It's not unfair advantage, because not using a phone is not basically unfair, but it's kind of that. It's such an advantage that I have over my peers. So as I don't have a smartphone, I have less amount of distractions, maybe zero. It's not actually zero, because if I want, I can definitely watch a movie over YouTube, maybe news and stuff like that. So definitely I have that options still, but not that in much amount as other people have who have a smartphone. But also there are some people who have smartphones, but at the same time they don't use it anymore. They just use it for making calls, maybe. Actually, I was also a kind of like that person, but still I used to give some amount of time, like in some social applications. It's not social media, because I don't use social media. I'm a little bit like I have a phobia of social media, so I don't use it from a very long amount of time. This actually boosted my productivity, because now I'm thinking more clearly, and I don't actually think like that I'm trying to get some instant gratification. Actually, it's not like that. Rather, for example, if you have WhatsApp on your phone, then maybe you are trying to constantly talk with people through WhatsApp, because it's much more easier to connect with people. So I don't have that urge anymore. So definitely it's much easier for someone like me who wants to make the state of the earth use of his time. So definitely it became much easier, because I don't have to think about anything else. So if I have something special, someone special, I can call through my not smartphone. So I have a lot of time that is getting basically saved. Okay, so that's the thing. And also I'm introduced, or I have been introduced with one important software application, that is Xtiles. If you see here, Xtiles, so it's our personal workspace. As you can see, this is about this week, even though I was not that active this week. If you go throughout my previous weeks, for example in my exam days, if I take you there, okay, yeah, a little bit like that. For example, Monday we have business overview, coding, business chapter 3-4, business, because I had business exam right there, and even if there is exam, I have to code. So I have to code for 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, or whatever it is possible, so it's feasible in amount. So I was doing business questions or practice, and at the same time I was doing coding. So also I was learning about web technologies, because right now I have a course called web technologies, and I'm also interested in web technologies. Not like I'm gonna do web development, rather I'm interested in it. in web technologies, like how front and back end works. I actually know about it a little bit because I have already I've already learned a little bit about it. Also, when I was learning about computer networks, even though not in great amount, rather just a shallow version, so I was introduced to it. But right now, the whole bunch of things of web technologies, how front end, back end, client side, server side, and what are the frameworks, how they are working, what are the content management system, so what are the behind the scene of all this, what are the technology that is running behind this, so what is the way of efficiency, so and also what are the future things that are coming. For example, in web 3 we also have the era of blockchain, that is for security purpose, and how these technologies evolved. So what was the pathway? I'm trying to understand and observe these things actually. Okay, so this here in Xtiles, you can plan your week, you can set your weekly priority. For example, for this week I had business exam, coding as much amount of time as possible, and also I was learning about Flask a little bit. Flask is a web framework for developing backend of a website. Alright, so this is very important. I think if you plan your week and adjust your time, plan your days for around the week, then definitely you will more likely to achieve something who don't plan it. Even if you look at yourself, that you're right now planning all the things that are going to happen, or that you basically want to accomplish, and you're planning this or you are not planning this. Definitely whenever you are planning but in a feasible way, definitely you are going to achieve more. You are going to stay organized. Staying organized, discipline, I'll talk about it because right now or recently I have been introduced to discipline versus obsession. So if I talk about it a little bit, the thing will be something like, you have to take obsession over discipline. If you look at Nikola Tesla, then what he has done is phenomenal. So he was always obsessed with technologies, whether it's basically he was all about electrical engineering. So he has done a lot of things, and he used to lock himself for 3 to 4 days even in his lab. He was working. So definitely these are not something near to discipline, rather it's obsession. So you don't need discipline when you are that much obsessed. For example, I can't stop learning programming, coding. So it doesn't actually matter that I'm disciplined or not. I'll constantly keep pushing, right? I'll constantly keep giving time into it, keep going, so keep learning things if I have time. So definitely discipline works, and discipline definitely matters in the initial phases, in the time whenever you are trying to build that passion, build that obsession. Definitely you have to explore a lot of things. You have to understand what works for you, what goes with your goal, and then once you find it, you have to discipline yourself to know more. Whenever you are trying to know more, definitely you are going to respect that more if you like it, and then you will immerse finally into that. And once you immerse yourself, definitely some phenomenal things gonna happen with your life, because you are going to change a lot of things into you. And also if you are that much giving time, maybe you will be changing that field as well, because you will be one of the top of that field. But that comes with mastery, and mastery comes with time, patience, and continuous effort into things, conquering the most fundamental, the most basic things, the most core components of a particular field. So these were major things that I have learned throughout the semester, and I'm planning to improve on some things throughout this semester. I'm currently in my fourth semester of out of 8, so this is called second year, second semester in my computer science undergraduate. So I think it will help you a little bit in amount if you also actually trying to understand how to actually learn things and how to actually achieve more in less amount of time, because all of us actually have less amount of time ultimately, because we actually want to do a lot of things. So that's it. I'll stop here today. Take care. Bye.